How does someone determine what their ideal body weight is?
I think, we usually measure their body fat percent as getting a good indicator and seeing, well, if they put their body fat in a favorable range, like, it's not that hard. And also, when they eat healthfully and lose weight, if they keep eating healthfully, their body keeps losing and it stops losing when it reaches their ideal weight, usually at a closer to their set point, at a weight that's usually thinner than they might think they would have been able to reach to. So generally, I'm saying people should be thinner than what they think is right. When people come in to see me, they think, I'm 50 pounds overweight, and I'm thinking, you're not. You're 60 pounds overweight. I'm 80 pounds overweight. You're not. You're really 100 pounds overweight. Because what they're thinking they need to lose more. Because I have these ultimate expectations. I'm going for, might as well shoot for perfection and get the body fat below 25% if they're a female and below 15% of a male, which is not perfection. I'm almost 70 years old and my body fat percent's 11%. So 15% is still a compromise. Why should they have more than 50% body fat?
How do we reduce our appetite? Because what can often happen, and what you see in the literature here, is someone loses a lot of weight, their total daily energy expenditure goes down, and they may have the same appetite or even more drive. It's like biology is kind of conspiring against the weight loss in this circumstance from a survival point of view. So this is where satiety seems to be really important. What are the things that someone can think about or draw on when they're making their meals or at the grocery store, in terms of how do you get more satiety, increased satiety per calorie?
Right. Well, that's kind of like what my job is and what my specialty is. Now you're in my wheelhouse, you know what I mean? This is what we do. We have people, just the answer to that question is, how do I be satisfied with the right amount of calories? And how do I eat instinctually so the amount of calories and food I desire is the right amount? Why should there be a disconnect between the amount what you feel like eating and what's best for your body? It should be the same. So we want people to instinctually prefer the right amount of calories. But don't forget, that doesn't happen overnight. That takes time and training. You didn't become a great athlete overnight either. You had to train with the right methods and technique for many years. So with training and with time, so we give people the right training, but they have to continue with repeating and practicing that over and over again. And eventually it happens where you're satisfied with the right amount of food. And then we're giving people both an adequate food volume and lengthening the process of digestion with slowly digestible foods. They're not feeling wasted and empty in the middle of the afternoon, let's say.
What kind of foods are we talking about here?
Well, we're talking about mixing 4 types of foods. And those 4, my typical lunch, I might have a salad and a bowl of vegetable bean soup and a piece of fruit for dessert, which is a light meal. But I made sure the salad had some nuts and seeds in it, and the soup had some beans in it. So I had the beans and the nuts and the vegetables in the same meal and some fruit for dessert. Or at dinner time, I may have some quinoa, I may have green vegetables, I may have a little bit of bean or a little bit of, but I also had a little bit of nuts and seeds and a little bit of bean and a little bit of grain and a little bit of, and I had some raw food for dinner too. And I also had dessert. I also had my frozen cherries, my baked apple with the vanilla ice cream on top. I had my coconut macaroon or something. I had some dessert, and dessert's an important part of this to constrict appetite, because I'm going to eat the dessert before I'm full. And I could still want more food, but I felt I had enough of a plate of food. And now by having the dessert before I'm full, it marks the end of eating for the day. I have something that's really satisfying and tastes, really delicious. And now I can shut down the restaurant, which means the kitchen, clean the kitchen, put the food away, clean my teeth, and be occupied with other non-food activities that are fun the rest of the night, and stay away from food. Last night was a perfect example for me, because I'm trying to do what I advise my patients and clients to do.
Do you find it hard at times?
At times it did. Like last night we went dancing, my wife and I out, after we ate dinner. Now I didn't want to eat much dinner because I knew I was going to go to this dance class, right? Actually, we did the Argentino tango last night, okay? So we came home and I said, I really didn't eat that much at dinner because I ran out to go to this dance class. And I really feel like eating, but I know it's best for and I'm a little hungry. But I just had a glass of water. I watched the end of the basketball game, and I went to bed. I started to watch a movie, but I fell asleep and went to bed. I woke up in the morning, this morning, before I came here, and I was hungry. So I picked a pretty hefty breakfast. But the point was, I could have eaten at nighttime before I went to bed and think I'm hungry. I might as well eat. But I knew the hunger is so light, with such a light, that when you really when you're in touch with true hunger, it doesn't make you uncomfortable. It doesn't make you interfere with sleep. And you know it's best to sleep on an empty stomach and not to have food in your belly when you're trying to sleep at night, because that's lifespan enhancing. So I purposely didn't eat at last night, even though I might have come back from dinner, from dancing, a little hungry.